How is it going in your area? The protest, this is the day 6th of the protest, but then I think the pressure is not as much as it has been from the first day, which is Thursday. Let's talk a little bit outside the protest now on review and talk about something very, very important. But then it's all in the bid to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal that has actually resulted to the hunger that has instigated, should I use the word instigate, or has forced people into protesting. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and this is The Review. And on The Review today, we want to talk about the fact that the federal government has promised to sell rice at the rate of 40,000 naira and even be distributed to some persons free of charge, because we heard about 20 trucks of rice were given to state governors. But then we don't know how that is going right now. And joining me on the conversation this morning is Michael Ekene. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Ramsey.
Yeah, it's good to have you on The Review this morning. Let's talk about the distribution of rice. We heard that rice will be going for 40,000 naira, but then at some designated points, it will not be on the shelves everywhere. Now, we got to know this morning from one of the papers that there is a procedure, a laid-down procedure, especially for people working in government offices, on how to get this rice. And we're made to understand that some registration processes were going to happen, and maybe online to the office of the head of service. But then some persons were thinking this thing was going to be on the shelf for every Nigerian to get, because the hunger is actually hitting every single Nigerian. What do you think about this? Were you as shocked as I am when you heard that registration had to be done through the office of the head of service before you can even have access to buy it?
Shock is an understatement.
The bag of rice.
Shock is an understatement, because I'm perplexed, flabbergasted, frazzled, marveled, and baffled at the same time. Because, I mean, we're among those who were actually giving kudos to the federal government for announcing that bags of rice will be sold 40,000 naira to Nigerians, as against what it's obtainable in the market, which is 84 to 80,000 naira per 50 kg. And we were saying, oh, thank God for that. But then, remember the questions raised while we were talking about it was, are the centers going to be made available or accessible to every Dick, Tom, and Harry in Nigeria? But then now it's been confirmed that the federal government reportedly wants to start from the head of the office of the head of civil service of the federation. That means you have to fill a Google form. You have to be someone who works at the office. Fill a Google form in the office.
Let me get this right, because someone was actually ranting when I said we're going to discuss this topic, and she was particular about the fact that it has to do with government workers. When you came to tell us that this thing is actually for the poor in the society. So when do federal government or state government workers become the poor of the poorest in Nigeria?
That raises eyebrows, because it is out it is outrageous to actually say this reduction in prices of 50 kg rice is going to the poorest of the poor in society. But right now you are telling us that office of head of civil service or head of federation is where it's going to start. Then are they poor? No. We all know that big men and big ladies that are working. And then if it's not made available to the poorest of the poor or the vulnerable in the society, which, of course, we have them in localities, on uninhabitable houses, we know where they are. We know where the poorest of the poor are. Just like if you're giving palliative, you're telling us you're starting from the office of head of federation, that means the aim of that palliative
is already defeated
from the start. From inception. That means already from inception of this one, already we don't even see it as trying to cushion.
So there's something we need to get right now.
Of hunger.
Meaning, if you're not a federal government worker, you shouldn't expect it.
Because remember, the criterion was listed. You fill a Google form in the office, and then you submit for approval in the human resource department of the same civil service. Then, subject to approval from the Human Resource Department, then you will know if you are eligible to access. Remember, you have to make payment and fill the Google form.
When you talk about that eligibility,
Yes,
for them to ascertain if someone is eligible, I think maybe they want to do it such that the poorest of the poor
That works.
can actually get it. No, not that works. There are some persons that are actually in civil service that cannot afford a bag of rice.
Cleaners.
Okay, all right.
yeah.
You name them. Maybe they are trying to do that to know if there are people in civil service that fall into the category of the poorest of the poor.
I'm of a different mindset.
I'm just asking.
Different mindset. Most of these cleaners are really uneducated. O-level result was what they used to gain jobs. Averagely earning, since federal government has made it 70,000, probably they were earning 30 or 40,000 now. Reportedly, they should be earning 70, even though they are cleaners or menial workers there in the federal civil service. I don't see it as that way because it was spelled out. You have to fill a Google form. Who fills a Google form? It has to be someone that is intelligent.
That's what I wanted to ask. Does the poor man in the village, that farmer, does the person know how to fill a Google form? But this is actually for federal government workers, for civil servants.
We still heard that.
We've not heard of. Is there any procedure for the poorest of the poor apart from that of the civil servants that you know?
Research further show that the federal government has also said there will be stipulated centers, designated centers, where it will be supervised for distribution of rice sold for 40,000. We heard that last week. We're hearing that again this week. But what we are yet to ascertain is those centers, are they named or is just stipulated centers? Tell us where they are. Is it in Nyanya? Is it in Kuje? Is it in Gwagwalada? Are you studying from the local government areas, which is also what I want? Because the grassroots people.
Yeah, because the local government is closer to the grassroots.
Absolutely. Are people that need this, people that are earning, infinitesimal amounts of salary are those that need this reduction in prices. Those in the civil service do not. They could actually afford 84,000 naira because when federal government was making policies, of course, he knows that the workers in the government space or government portfolios can averagely, go to work, fuel their car, buy food. But then remember that these agitations that we see on the street, the protests, which is what has necessitated or preempted or precipitated this distribution of rice to happen sooner, it's actually the poorest of the poor, people that are on the street crying for hunger.
A lot of people during the protest, some persons even came with pots.
Yeah.
To show how hungry they were.
Empty pots. And then you see how it is that it is endemic in all spheres. People are actually hungry. But are you addressing it from that a place that has proximity to those people that actually need this palliative?
All right, that's the
question.
That's the question. Now let's take this question, underline this question. Are they actually doing it such that people can actually get what they want, especially the people who needs it? Because we've heard of diversions in the past where people divert things that are actually meant for the poorest of the poor.
Only fertilizers.
Being diverted, fertilizers. And the 20 trucks of rice that was distributed to governors. I don't know if it is being shared in your own state. Let us know at the comment section. For me, I've not gotten anything, probably because I'm in FCT. But then FCT should also have, because there are people living in FCT. Thank you very much, Michael, for adding your voice to the conversation. So on a final note, what would you have to say to the federal government, all right, and whoever that has come up with this idea? Because if it is what I'm thinking, then it's not correct. If it is that, this opportunity is given only to people in civil service. This privilege is given to people in civil service. What about the poorest of the poor? Or could it be that the 20 trucks of rice will go to the poor, then the civil servants will now purchase this one for 40,000 naira. Well, I think there is that in that way there could be a balance. But then because as a matter of fact there are some persons that cannot even afford the 40,000 naira to get a bag of rice.
I think federal government going further should clarify in detail. Tell Nigerians how you want these things to be done in detail. Elaborate it. Tell us, this centers is where you're going to assess rice for 40,000 for those who can afford it, and it's not just for the selected few. those in the civil service, those in NEMA, federal government workers per se, because averagely they earn more, they earn higher than those in the rural areas, the poorest of the poor. But then you're telling us you want to cushion the effect of hunger, which is what instigated, actually, that's what fueled the protests at the first place.
That's it.
Hunger is what fueled
End bad
the
governance
governance.
hashtag. There is hunger.
There's hunger, the hashtag hunger protest.
All right.
That's what fueled it. So tell us where the poorest of the poor can access this rice, and also the ones that were distributed to the states, who have gotten access to. Show us proofs, video of the distribution. Let's see.
And again, finally, let's know how this thing is being done, who is supervising it.
Absolutely.
Who will be held accountable? Who will you ask? Which office will you go to?
And
is it the
also-
state government? Is it the local government? Is it the state office, not state government? Is it the state office or the local government office? Where exactly do you want the people to go?
And
Pick
also,
up the
remember
rice.
a copper just asked us before we came and said, hey, can coppers also access these bags of rice?
Corps members they are government.
Government workers.
They are also government workers. They are children of the government. All right, this is the size of the review for this morning, and of course, we've spoken extensively. Let us know how it is faring in your area. Have you gotten a bag of rice? Which palliative at all have you gotten? My name is Ramsey Enoch, and we'll come on your way again tomorrow, same time, same station. Bye bye, and have a wonderful day.